Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I know, makes me want to dance. Dr. Janet Little joining us. She's dancing with us. Optimal Vitality Doctor at your service. Please say hello.
Hi, everybody. Glad to be back.
Excited to have you here. Give us a little introduction. Obviously, an amazing background with all you do.
Sure. So my background originally is in family medicine. I've been practicing medicine for about 15 years now. And I'm also a trauma-informed professional coach. So what I do is work with healthcare professionals and other professionals, really move, particularly during this pandemic, move into thriving, move into finding their happiness and coaching them in a way that gives them the energy and the tools and strategies to really make huge strides in their lives.
And yeah, we've all been on the same boat, unfortunately, and fortunately, in a sense, with COVID and this pandemic. And I know today you kind of want to talk about what it's like to get back to work and managing those emotions, right?
Yes, absolutely. So as things are now opening up, restrictions are being released in a lot of states, and a lot of companies are wanting their workers back. It's that time where people are getting anxious because they've dealt with this for
itching.
Yes, 18 months of working from home and having to play so many roles in the home, and now having to deal with going back into that stressor of what's traffic going to be like, what's being in the workplace going to be like. So it's going to create a lot of emotion, a lot of stress. So what I want to do today is just leave the listeners with a few tips, strategies, and some support emotionally for their well-being as they are having to navigate these new waters again as we get out of this pandemic.
Great. Well, you know what? How do we do it? Where do we start? Now there's the anxiety and the fear and the stress of the year of the virus. Now it's the fear and the anxiety, the stress of getting back to work and back to that life and feeling that stress. I mean, boy, oh boy, the overwhelm doesn't stop, to be honest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's like our emotions and our stress are so interconnected.
Yeah.
And even though we may emotionally feel well, we can still experience stress. And as we know, we experience that stress through that fight, flight, freeze response. And just think about it. It's like you get in a fender bender, that emotion that you get immediately, and then after things calm down, you're back to your normal self. And going back to work is not going to be any different. So you may experience those signs of anxiety, the heart pounding, the sweaty palms as you're driving into work, the clenched teeth and the jaws and things like that as you're navigating back into that workplace. So it's really important to address those things and making sure that it doesn't turn into a long-term thing, that it's just a short period of time. And even though we're in this pandemic together, everybody has experienced it at some level differently, whether you're a frontline worker or you weren't directly impacted by the pandemic, whether it's with your work or with your family. So I think understanding that a lot of us are still in that survival mode will allow us to gracefully get back into that. And I think it's important that not only the workers going back into work understand that, but our bosses and our employers need to understand what that stress is going to be like for the employers. So as to know that, if there's certain behaviors that are happening in the workplace, is not because this is a bad worker, this something else could be going on. And as I've said so many times before, it's okay to not be okay. And first and foremost, acknowledging that.
Yeah.
And when the employers can understand that, then I think it makes that transition a lot easier.
Kind of like this too shall pass. Is that
Mm-hmm.
the saying?
Exactly.
Ah, and it's happening to everyone. That makes me feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
We are
Mm-hmm.
not alone
You're not
in the
alone.
journey
That's right.
of
That's right.
this. All right, good. So, like in regards to, what is the control circle, would you say here?
Mm-hmm.
Explain how that works.
Okay,
So,
so think of it, I'm glad we have this visual with it. So think of it as three concentric circles. So you have your circle of control, and those are our actions and our decisions. And then you have inside that circle, your circle of influence. And those represent like your relationships and other people that you can't control them, but you do have some effect on them. And then inside that circle, you have your circle of concerns. And those are the things that you can control or you do have influence over, and they do impact us. So, what I do recommend is thinking about, okay, what are those things that I can't control? You can't control the pandemic. You can't, oftentimes, if your boss says, yeah, we're returning back to work, you can't control that. So what are those things in your inner circle, that circle of concern that you can control? You can control your behavior. You can control your attitude. You can control your emotions and kind of get yourself set up to get back into that larger circle of control that you don't necessarily
yeah,
have control over.
yeah.
So
Well,
if that means, hey, you don't necessarily feel safe in the workplace, that might mean I'm going to wear a mask
yeah,
for my safety, even though I may be vaccinated. Or I would prefer to, even though we may be separated, I still prefer to wear a mask. So having those things that you can control.
good. Yeah. And what would you say? How can a person structure really and now apply the situation specifically?
Mhm. Okay, so there are so many uncertainties and unknowns coming up as people return to work, and our nervous system is working high alert right now, and
Mm,
our bodies are reacting to that. So when it's working overtime, just think of the stress as being like a lot of apps running in the background of your phone, and it's draining your battery. So even though you're not using those apps, you're still draining the battery. So because you're working overtime, I do suggest what's called the three S's, and that's structure, self-awareness, and self-care.
okay.
We can talk about that a little bit.
Ooh, perfect. All right. Could you tell us a little bit more about this? Can we go specifically
Sure.
into the first S?
Yes. So the first is structure. And so when we left the workplace to shelter in place, we lost our day-to-day structure. And that created stress for a lot of people. And so now you got used to working from home, and that structure is about to be agitated yet again, creating additional stress. So as we're transitioning back into the workplace, we'll again have that accumulated stress and having to get acclimated to a new daily routine. So
Yep.
creating structure. So if that means that you're having to go back into work, what kind of structures can you have in place before work, during work, and after work? Does that mean creating and upholding boundaries? And particularly, as I mentioned, if that means you're not fully comfortable in the workplace immediately with the distancing, but you feel comfortable if you have to be there wearing a mask, that's a little bit of a structure,
Hmm.
again, that you have control over. And then your sleep and wake cycles, that may be affected as well as you're going back to work, because now you're having to get up earlier, travel to work, travel from work, all of that stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, that's the structure.
And the next S on the list was
The
what?
next the next S is self-awareness. So as we're going through this transition, as I said, our nervous system is on high alert. And I think having self-awareness that you are a bit nervous or a bit anxious about returning to work, slowing down is important. And noticing those thoughts and feelings that and reactions that are happening. And instead of reacting to those, responding to those, giving it a little bit more thought. And this thing, we're in unprecedented times. So of course you're going to have emotions that you may have never had before. So I think it's just important to recognize those, acknowledge it, name it for what it is. I'm anxious, and do something about it. Take action. So again, be aware of your feelings, be aware of your self-talk and that inner dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important because we have all that negative talk happening and we are working ourselves up. And just because you have a thought doesn't mean it's a fact.
Okay. Good point.
And then just really checking in with your body. How are you feeling? Where do you feel the tension? Is it in your shoulders? Are you having headaches? Are you in your stomach gnawing? Things like that. And then important is to adjust your expectations. That yes, this is going to be a transition, and you're not going to get it perfect, and the workplace is probably not going to get it perfect immediately. So having those high expectations that as soon as you go in the door that things are going to run smoothly. I think if we just lower our expectations, again, having some grace with ourselves and with the workplace will make it a lot easier. And then recognizing your strengths and positive ways of coping. So we all have ways of coping, positive ways, I would say. And then we also have negative ways. So trying to avoid those negative ways, whether that's self-medicating, coping with alcohol, eating, those bad habits, just and recognize what you're doing with your body and with your mind. And then again, talk to friends, or if you need to talk to a professional, if you're really, really having high levels of anxiety before you're going back to work, talk to someone who can help support you and help you, one, reframe, and two, talk you through those that situation to get you going again. And then just another thing is deep breathing and meditation. Absolutely. Absolutely. That can
Excuse me.
definitely help regulate the body and slowing down that the physical aspect, slowing down your heart rate, slowing down the blood pressure, and getting your mind back into being able to make those good decisions.
Good. And what about some breathing help? You
Yeah. We
mentioned
got time
breath
for a
and
quick.
yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, all right. So, of course, if you're driving and listening to this, please don't do it for safety reasons. I have to put that.
Possible. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So just first, check your posture. You want to be feet grounded as much as possible, and then your spine erect. And if it feels comfortable to you, I know this sounds a little weird doing it on Zoom, but just closing your eyes and just softening your gaze where you're focused, where you're not feeling distracted. And then just take 3 nice, slow, deep breaths in. Right. And out through your nose. In through your nose. One more time, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. And then what you can also do is just bring one hand to your heart and the other hand to your belly and just notice your breathing. And what we're going to do is just really quickly just do a quick body scan and just feel the weight of your feet. And just feel your feet touching the floor. And just notice every part of your body that is making contact with the chair and the floor. And then just bring awareness to your feet and notice any sensations in your toes, your feet, and your ankles. And then just continue moving up your legs to your calf, to your knee, to your thighs. And then notice your hips and your belly. And just allow your body to soften. And you just continue bringing your awareness up to your chest, to your back and your shoulders. And just loosen those up. And just breathe out any tension that you may be feeling. Oftentimes you carry all the tension in your shoulders. And just roll your shoulders back and just soften. And then notice any sensations in your neck and your jaw and your face. And just breathe out any tension that you may be feeling in your face, around your eyes, around your jaws. And just notice any sensations in your scalp or the crown of your head. And let's just take one last final deep breath in. And slowly breathe out. And just release any remaining tension. And then just, when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to the room. And just notice how did your body feel with that afterwards?
I feel tiredly relaxed.
Uh-huh.
I'm supposed to be upbeat on this show. Not today.
Shake it out. Just shake it out.
I feel good. Wow.
Yeah, and that's just
Oh,
within that less
thank
than a
you.
minute. Yeah, within that
Wow.
less than a minute, you can calm that nervous system down. And you feel like you feel a little bit more clarity that you can think straight.
Yeah, I feel the air coming in my throat more, opening up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I tend to breathe opposite than what I should be, letting the diaphragm
Mhm,
open and pulling in.
mhm.
Oh,
And that's where self-awareness comes
yeah, definitely more aware.
in.
Now, what about the self-care, right? The other
Self-care,
S.
yes. And, I always talk about self-care. That's I think that should be the first S. But it's really how your personal practice and my self-care routine is going to be different than your self-care routine. And that's what those things that really contribute to your well-being.
Mhm.
And first and foremost, think about what's helped you in the past. And like massages for the physical self,
Mhm.
exercise, walking, things like that. And then especially with everything that's going on in the news, having a healthy news diet. And that may mean setting boundaries for yourself and limiting how much news you're either watching or listening to, especially as you're traveling. A lot of us listen to the radio, things like that. You may need to put on a podcast like PBN and listen to this as you're traveling to work. That's a good 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
That'll get your mind in the right mindset as you're traveling to or from work. And then again, just limiting the news sources that you're engaging in. And if that means also turning off your notifications on your technology, your iPads and your phones and things like that. And giving yourself a limited amount of time to say, hey, I'm going to check my email or I'm going to check my phone at this time. Give yourself a short block of time during the day to do that. And then, as I mentioned before, self-medicating. We really have to take take stock in that. And it's not just about what we're putting into our bodies. That could be shopping, over shopping, and gambling online,
Yeah.
scrolling through social media. All of those things are ways that we're negatively trying to cope with our stressors. And of course, the overeating, the alcohol, substance abuse, and things like that. And then always making time for rest and sleep.
That's
That is
yeah,
so
always the
important.
hard part Can we talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. I am still working on this myself. It is on my goals of getting a better sleep routine. And that meaning, of course, turning off the technology an hour before you're going to bed. Um, Getting your room nice and cool, whatever's comfortable for you. Turning off the TV. Eating several hours before you're going to bed. So it's really a routine as soon as you're getting home so that you're um, kind of priming yourself to shut things down for your body.
Hmm.
And then next is maintaining physical, social, and emotional, or social but not emotional, and social distance from support.
Hmm.
And as we're able to get back into things, really surrounding yourself with people who support you. And then this is one of my favorites, is getting some vitamin P. That's not a real vitamin,
Oh,
but that P stands for is finding
yeah.
pleasure. And whether again, whether just getting massages or taking a bubble bath or lounging, reading your favorite book, manicures and pedicures, whatever you find pleasure in,
Hmm.
get more of it. And then just allow yourself to have fun. And most importantly, staying active and exercising.
Good. I like that idea. Making the time for yourself. And also, as simple as allowing yourself to have fun. That's something we don't tend to do.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And with that, of just having fun, again, even though you may feel that things aren't back to normal, and things are not going to be back to normal, they can get closer to normal, but we've all experienced this pandemic, this life-changing pandemic.
Yeah.
And so now we're having to learn new ways to navigate our world.
Hmm.
And so it may, again, be finding new ways to have fun. And hopefully, this last year and a half has opened that up for a lot of people.
Yeah. What do you do for fun?
What
Do
do
you
I do for
ask me?
fun?
Yeah.
I started gardening and my plants are
Ah,
coming up. Yeah, so I did that. I've been doing that with my son, and we've been watering our garden and having fun
good.
with that. I enjoy bike riding.
Mhm.
Exercise is a huge one for me. That's like one of my non-negotiables that I know when my mood is different. It's like, when was the last time you
Yeah.
exercised? So that's an
Good.
important one for me. Resting,
Yeah.
sleeping
Yeah.
when I can. When I can,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. People ask me, what do I do for fun? My hobbies. I'm like, I have kids. I enjoy, as stressful as they are, I enjoy them. I don't really have any
Uh-huh.
hobbies. People say,
Uh-huh.
oh, once your kids are older, I'm like, I'm trying to think. I used to love dancing, but I used to teach dance. But what brings me
Okay.
joy is just my family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't really need a hobby, right? Don't
And
tell
that
me I have to start taking up the piano because I'm not, I can't.
and that's
It could
good.
be the
That
simple things,
there's
right?
right, right. It is really about the simple things. And if there's anything that this pandemic has taught me,
Yeah.
is that we have to enjoy simple things in life.
Yeah.
And like yesterday, I went by the water just to walk around. Didn't have to have anything to do. It was just being.
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying the water and just enjoying the people that are out there enjoying. And I think people watching is one of my favorite things to do. It's like, oh, especially now that you're seeing families coming back together that
Yeah.
haven't seen each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
I was almost in tears seeing some
Aw,
folks just reunite. And so those are
exciting.
quirky things that make me happy.
So good. Yeah, it's true. I agree. I'm with you on that one. It is all about those little things. And Dr. Janet Little, what about staying active and exercise? Did you want to touch upon that?
Yeah, definitely staying active. Whatever floats your boat. And I think I've mentioned this many times before, of making sure that one, you're consistent, and two, start slow. You don't have to run a marathon immediately out the gate. So just a simple walk and working up to doing a little bit more each and every day.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that. And Dr. Janet Little, could you please tell our viewers and listeners how we can get in touch with you?
Sure, absolutely. So you can reach me at my website is optimalvitalitydr.com. I'm also on Facebook. You can search me at Optimal Vitality NB. And then I also can be reached at 443-492-9578.
Perfect. And on social media, can we find you?
Social media, Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm on there as well. I'm working on more platforms. I'm coming.
Good. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And we urge everyone to visit the website, reach out to you, tell them we sent you, and thank you for walking us through this new age in a sense. And it's been a hard year for everyone, but it is true. It is very important for us to kind of get back on track, and
Absolutely.
we can get over this anxiety. If we can get over that, we can now overcome
You can
this.
do anything.
And what is the saying you said before in the notes about the two shall what?
This too shall pass.
That's it. All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
Dr. Little, have a great day. And
You as well.
we'll keep in touch.
All right.
Thank you. And everyone else the same. Stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.